Welcome back to New Day. Today, the Justice Department is launching a broad civil rights investigation into the Ferguson, Missouri Police Department. That's where unarmed black teenager Michael Brown was shot and killed by a police officer. The investigation is going to look into whether or not the practices of the Ferguson PD violate federal law. This comes as two media outlets are suing to unseal Michael Brown's juvenile record. Now, the state is arguing Brown had no serious felony convictions, so there is no legitimate interest in the information. Members of the media say, with so much unknown, his past is relevant. Attorney for Michael Brown's family, Daryl Parks, joins us now from Florida on this situation. Counsel, very good to have you as always. Let me ask you first about the investigation by the DOJ. We had heard the Attorney General say, we're going to take a look at the shooting specifically, see what was done and whatnot. Now, this is a second layer looking at Ferguson and surrounding police departments. Is this something that the family wanted?
Well, certainly they wanted, I mean, as Christian may or may not know, but in the area of Ferguson, there have been several police departments close by that have had serious issues. For example, Jennings, Missouri, which is contiguous with Ferguson, Missouri here. So there have been some serious issues in this area before. We were not surprised by the fact that when the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division put these 40 agents on the ground, that, you know, you hear the number 200 people had been interviewed. Obviously, not all of them had things to say about the Michael Brown situation. I'm sure many of them had other things to say. Part of what we have seen in our investigation on the ground there is we do continue to get complaints about other situations that have happened there in Ferguson and in surrounding areas. So I'm sure as they did their investigation, they too began to get a lot of different things about different situations that probably caused them to want to take a closer, wider look at the Ferguson Police Department.
And the reach will be pretty sweeping. It won't be just issues of race. This investigation authorizes to look at patterns of conduct that involve any type of negative preference. It could be on the basis of socioeconomics, anything, but obviously race is a motivator here. All right, so then you have the second big issue. And counsel, let's do this the easy way for the audience. You make the case for why releasing the juvenile record is wrong, and I'll take the side that the media is advancing in this litigation, though we are not party to it. Why is it wrong to release the record here?
Well, Chris, I think it was about a couple of weeks ago, you all asked me about his criminal history. And one of the issues that was rather clear, even the police department has made it clear that there's no significant criminal history here. Yesterday was important because even as the judge gets ready to rule, the attorneys for the juvenile area there in Missouri indicated that there was no significant juvenile history in Mike Brown's past.
Okay, so we do know this. If Michael Brown had been convicted as a juvenile of a serious felony, you know, behavior that would be a felony as an adult, it would already be public. It would not be protected by the juvenile law. So we know there can't be a conviction for that. But we don't know certain things, and why can't the media judge for itself what's in there and whether it's relevant to showing a predisposition that Michael Brown may have had when encountering this officer, an intention of being violent, that he may have been someone who may be trying to threaten the officer?
Well, first of all, Michael Brown is a victim in this situation, and I think we have to be very careful about how we try to portray the victim, and he did not shoot anyone. Number two, it's rather clear that the laws of the state of Missouri certainly have leaned toward protecting children and things that happen while they are younger. So we get to the point where why does this become important? Well, we believe, number one, that those folks who have asked for these records are participating as part of a character assassination of Michael Brown and his death. We believe that it is shameful that they would want to continue to go down this road knowing, number one, that Michael Brown was not the perpetrator. Number two, knowing that he did not have any significant record. And three, where some have been so egregious to put out there that he had been part of some, or maybe had a pending murder charge of some type, which now we know is totally untrue. So those people who continue to participate in gross untruths really should stop and give great respect to Michael Brown, who's deceased.
To your best knowledge, you say the allegations that there was some type of homicide investigation going on or some type of charge. To your knowledge, is there any serious behavior that was being examined by any aspect of the court system involving Michael Brown?
Nothing serious whatsoever. And I think if nothing else, maybe he probably may have possibly had a juvenile situation, maybe at worst, maybe a truancy situation, but nothing of any type of serious nature where a person in his situation and his being a victim and being shot in broad daylight by an officer would come into play.
Now, this is insensitive. There's no question about it. However, it may be legal. You paused when you said that the law is designed to protect kids, you said, while they're young. I'll fill in the pause a different way. It's designed to protect kids while they're alive. And Michael Brown, right or wrong, is no longer alive. And I think most people would agree you lose a life and it's wrong. But he's not alive anymore, so there's no one to protect, so we should release the record.
Well, I haven't seen the law in particular, but I saw someone interpret the law to say that right or protection died with his death. I'm not quite sure if that's what the law actually says. I think if nothing else, we should take the spirit of the law in this situation, that is rather clear that the law is designed to protect the juvenile records of a person. I think the law, if it doesn't, should go to the point where, especially in his death, that it shouldn't be used against him, particularly given the fact that he is not the person that took a life in this situation.
And many people have reached out with questions about this, saying, well, would it be allowed as evidence at trial? And what they're forgetting is the point that you're making. Michael Brown would not be on trial in this situation. It would be about the shooting, and that would be, if there's anything, it would be involving what the officer did, not what Michael Brown did, not at this point anyway. Counsel, always good to get the information and perspective directly from you. Thank you for joining us on New Day.
Thank you.